March 29th, 2022, Moshood Abiola Stadium, Abuja, Nigeria. 60,000 Nigerian fans creating hell on earth. Ghana vs Nigeria, 0-0. World Cup dreams dying in the African heat. Thomas Partey receives the ball 20 yards from goal. He does not panic. He does not rush. He just finds the gap. Crack! The ball rushes into Francis Uzoho's net. Nigeria's fortress falls silent. In Ghana, bars explode, streets erupt, 30 million dreams resurrected in a single moment. But to understand how a boy from Krobo, Odumase, delivered Ghana to Qatar, you need to know about the wooden stake that woke him at 4 a.m. for 3 years straight. June 13, 2022, Odumase Krobo, Ghana. Different drums now, traditional drums. They are making him a chief. Mahe Falo, defender of Krobo. The same hands that once bled from Coach Sam's knife. The same feet that ran barefoot behind his father. The same boy who slept with boots on top of him because the punishment for being late was worse than death. This is the story of two Thomas Parteys. In Ghana, the metronome who controls games with perfect timing. Two-time Ghana Player of the Year. The hero who conquered Europe. In Europe, a 50 million euro midfielder, Arsenal's fragile genius, a man whose reputation carries shadows. Both versions are true, neither tells the complete story. Every morning, Odumase Krobo, 1990s. Grace Partey's feet hit the floor at 3 a.m. No alarm. Poverty had programmed her perfectly. Light the fire, pound the cassava, prepare the kenke and banku, balance 40 pounds on her head, walk 6 miles selling food until midnight. My mother, Thomas Hotel European journalist, was the strongest person in Ghana. But Thomas had his own alarm coming. 2002, Ashaiman, bang bang bang, wood striking metal. 4 a.m. every single day. 9-year-old Thomas Partey jots awake in an electrical shop powered by car batteries. This is his new home, if you can call it that. Your boots have to be on top of you when you sleep. The coach they called president commanded. You wake up, wear them straight, get on the line, and we do laps. 1 hour and 30 minutes of running every morning. If you miss your time, you will stand all night. No sitting, no leaning, just standing until your legs give out. There was a time we wanted to run away, Thomas Partey admits. But where would he go? Back to Krobo, where his mother still woke up at 3 a.m. Or back to his father, whose football dreams died in local leagues? When money ran out, which was very often, the boys dug stand for construction workers. When that failed, they collected aluminium scraps from dams just to eat. This was not football academy. This was survival training disguised as football education. But he was building something nobody could see yet, the perfect metronome. The player who would never panic, never rush, always arrive exactly when needed. 2001 to 2008, Revelation FC, Ashaiman. Before the 4 a.m. wooden stake, there was Coach Sam and his knife. Every Ghanaian knows about our football academies, but Revelation FC was different. This was not development, this was distraction and rebuilding through discipline. If you lose a match, you line up, the knife comes out, one cut across each player's hand. Not deep enough for hospital, but deep enough to scar forever. You want to cry? Coach Sam would scream, cry. But tomorrow you will train harder or bleed again. Thomas still has those scars, thin white lines across his palms. European journalists think they are from childhood accidents. They are not, they are receipts, proof of payment for the mentality that would conquer Europe's greatest stadium. The punishment escalated. If you were caught at a funeral party, you stand all night until sunrise. If you complain, double punishment. If you show weakness, the car fan belt comes out. But here's what Europe don't understand. This was not just brutality, it was preparation. Every cut taught Thomas that pain is temporary. Every all-night standing session taught him that the mind controls the body, not the other way around. This thing Sam did to us, Thomas would later say, it built something in me. When Simeon shouted, when Arsenal fans doubted, when everything else seemed impossible, he had survived worse. He had survived Ashaiman. September 5th, 2017, Brazzaville, Congo. Before we talk about Europe, we need to talk about the night Thomas Partey became a god in Ghana. 3 days earlier in Cape Coast, the Black Stars had stumbled. A 1-1 draw against Congo left the whole nation restless. Phone-in shows raged. Our World Cup is over. Callers cried. Cape Coast felt like a funeral. But Brazzaville was different. 20,000 Congolese fans packed the stadium, smelling blood. They were ready to bury Ghana's dream. They never expected what happened next. A perfect hat-trick, 3 goals, his first for the Black Stars. left foot, right foot, header, each one more ruthless than the last. Ghana 5, Congo 1. I have never seen a Ghanaian midfielder dominate like that. We called Kwabena Yeboah. The whole of Ghana was chanting Partey, Partey, even from thousands of miles away. In Odumase Krobo, neighbors spilled into the streets. In Kumasi, shop bars shook like chairs on Sunday. In Accra, taxi drivers leaned on their horns as if the whole city had won the lottery. And Thomas, he did not smile much. He rarely does. But that night, when the third goal went in, his face cracked open just enough for the world to see. The boy who ran barefoot behind his father at 4 a.m. had arrived. Remember those training sessions where he stayed after practice? Every strike in Brazzaville was born in Ashaiman dust, in bleeding hands, in a promise to his mother that she would never wake at 3 a.m. again. That night was more than a hat-trick. It was the birth of Ghana's midfield general. Thomas stepped off the plane wearing shorts and a jersey. In winter, Europe, it was cold, but I did not have a jacket. I left Ghana without a jacket. His entire European adventure, one boot, one jacket, dreams too big for any suitcase. 2012, Atletico Madrid Academy. For 2 months, Thomas trained in last year's kit, red jersey among blue ones, the mark of an outsider. After years of being the fittest in Ghana, European youth players were flying like this, while Thomas gasped for air. But remember what he learned from the wooden stick at 4 a.m. Persistence. Every time I go to training, I'm like, God, give me something that they can see. Immediately before training finished, I get one ball, dribble, ball, shoot every day for 2 months alone after everyone left, just like he used to collect aluminium scraps when others slept. Finally, the coach noticed, but the real transformation was coming. Chapter 6, the Simeone surgery. 2015, Madrid. Diego Simeone had Thomas and saw a problem to solve. When I was in Ghana, I was more like Zidane because I take the ball and dribble and go forward. Thomas explains. Diego Simeone killed that immediately. No, you don't play like that in my team. You tackle, win the ball and pass. Simple. The creative midfielder had to die for the destroyer to be born. But Thomas remembered standing all night in Ashaiman. Adaptation was survival. 2018 Europa League final. Atletico 3, Marseille 0. Thomas Partey helps seal victory. 2018 UEFA Super Cup. Victory against Real Madrid. Thomas Partey plays his part in those crucial 31 minutes, helping Atletico secure another trophy. Another step in its evolution from squad player to essential midfielder. The night that changed everything. March 11, 2020. Anfield, Liverpool. Every Ghanaian remembers where they were. Liverpool had not lost at home in 2 years. They were European champions, the most feared press in football. In Accra, generators hummed. In Kumasi, bars packed beyond capacity. In Krobo, families gathered around flickering screens. What happened next made grown men cry in chop bars across Ghana. Liverpool pressed like demons. Salah, Mane, Firmino hunting in parks. But watch Thomas, cool, calm, like he is back in Ashaiman, standing all night, controlling his breathing. 3 Liverpool players surround him. He rolls the ball past them like they are training cones. Henderson charges. Thomas lets him run past like a trotro missing its stop. Liverpool won 2-3 on the night. But the real victory was Atletico's advancing 4-2 on aggregate. Anfield had not fallen, but its mighty walls had been scaled. The fortress remained standing, but Thomas Partey and Atletico had planted their flag at its summit. October 5th, 2020, the 50 million decision. Transfer deadline day. 1 hour left. Atletico's president was confident. No team is coming to pay 50 million in this market. He was wrong. The transfer happened in the final hours of deadline day. Arsenal triggered his 50 million euro release clause with precision timing. For Atletico's president, it was a shock. For Thomas, it was destiny. The boy from Krobo was about to become the most expensive Ghanaian footballer in history. November 1st, 2020, Old Trafford. Premier League reality check. No, Thomas Partey dominated Manchester United in a crucial 1-0 win. First Arsenal victory there in 14 years. North London derby. That goal against Tottenham, a thunderbolt from 25 yards past Hugo Lloris, was pure Cape Coast magic. The stadium shook like that night in 2017, but English football brought new challenges. From 2020 to 2025, Emirates Stadium. At Arsenal, The numbers tell a cruel story. Over 5 seasons, more than 88 games missed through injury. At Atletico, he had missed just 7 games in 5 years. The contrast was stark, almost unbelievable. The same body that had been unbreakable in Madrid seemed fragile in London. Thigh strain, groin tear, back spasm, each breeding the next. The same body that survived Coach Sam's knife, that endured 4 a.m. runs, that conquered Anfield, suddenly vulnerable. Arsenal with Partey, 68% win rate. Arsenal without him, 51%. In Ghana, we knew this was spiritual. Something had changed. The weight of 30 million. From 2016 to 2024, the national team years. When Thomas Partey wears the Black Stars jersey, he transforms, not better or worse, heavier, like he is carrying every Ghanaian who ever dreamed of escape. He was named Ghana's vice captain ahead of crucial AFCON and World Cup qualifiers, a recognition of his growing influence in the national team. The armband was not just cloth, it was trust, responsibility, the weight of a nation's hopes, the glory. September 2017, hat-trick versus Congo, Cape Coast erupts. March 29, 2022, the goal versus Nigeria. That Nigeria goal deserves its own chapter. 61st minute, Ghana in need of a goal. World Cup dreams dying. Ball at his feet, 20 yards out. 60,000 Nigerians expecting a pass. Thomas sees the gap. That's perfect timing at 4 a.m. Crack. Pass Uzoho. Silence in Abuja. Explosion in Ghana. That was the best game, he says, because nobody believed in us. The heartbreak. AFCON 2021 eliminated by Comoros. Population 850,000 people. Less than Kumasi. The backlash was fierce. European boy, he doesn't care about Ghana. Thomas watched as his own people turn on him. The same people who had celebrated him months earlier. Chapter 11. The Shadows. July 2022. North London. Dawn. The knock that will change everything. Police at his door. An arrest that will spark headlines across continents. By July 2025, 4 more charges. 5 counts of rape, 1 count of sexual assault. The legal process continues. The outcome still uncertain. A shadow that follows his every move. Ghana's response. Setup. They always do this to successful African men. Our son is innocent. Radio debates, church prayers, support from him never wavered. England's response. Suspend him immediately. Believe women. Silent protest when he touched the ball. Thomas existed between these realities. Hero at home, accused abroad. The allegations created an impossible situation. Speak or stay silent. Both parts led to judgment. As legal proceedings continues, Thomas focused on the only thing he could control, his football. August 7th, 2025, Spain calls again. After his Arsenal contract expires, after 5 years of Premier League intensity, Thomas makes a decision that surprises many. Villarreal, a return to La Liga, where his European journey first bloomed. Arsenal had offered reduced terms to stay, but Thomas chose a different path. In Spain's rhythm, his body remembers how to work, the metronome finding its beat again. Meanwhile, his foundation in Ghana continues, organizing tournaments, giving young players chances, remembering someone once believed in a boy sleeping in an electrical shop. Late 2024, after confidential talks with Coach Otto, Thomas stepped back from the national team duties. He missed the November AFCON qualifiers. In June 2025, Ghana confirmed their vice captain has been given a break by Otto. The decision sparks debate across the nation, but the door remains open for his return. Back in Krobo, a mother watches his son navigate the storms of European football. Through injuries, through allegations, through criticisms, Grace Partey remains his strongest supporter, just as she had been when he was a boy running barefoot throughout dusty streets. The metronome's truth. Here's what only we Ghanaians understand. Thomas Partey is not just a footballer. He is the boy who survived Coach Sam's knife, who collected aluminium scraps for food, who slept with boots on top of him, who was walking by a wooden stick at 4 a.m. for 3 years. Every Ghanaian who has left home chasing dreams sees themselves in him. When he dominated at Atletico, we all dominated. When he struggled at Arsenal, we all struggled. When he sent us to the World Cup, we all went to Qatar. His story mirrors our own journeys. The silent departures from family, the cold European arrivals, the need to prove ourselves twice as much, the weight of carrying not just personal dreams but national hopes. The knife scars on his hands have healed, other scars remain unhealed. Some battles continue. But here's what we know: that night at Anfield, he showed the world what Ghana produces. That hat-trick in Cape Coast, he wrote himself into our history. That goal in Abuja, he gave 30 million people a moment they will never forget. Because in the end, Thomas Partey proved something profound. You don't need the fastest feet or the hardest shot. Sometimes, the most revolutionary thing you can do is to be exactly where your team needs you, exactly when they need you there. Perfect timing, like a metronome. The boy from Krobo, who was walking by a wooden stick at 4 a.m., became the man who never panics, never rushes, just arrives. One time, on time, every time. Even now, as legal proceedings continue, as injuries heal, as new chapters begin in Spain, Thomas Partey remains what he has always been: a boy from Krobo who dared to dream, a midfielder who conquered Europe's greatest stages, a man navigating the complexities of fame and scrutiny, a son who made his mother proud. The story is not finished. Some chapters are still being written, some verdicts still await, but this much is certain: he showed us what is possible. He carried our flag to places we had only seen on TV. He proved that a boy from anywhere in Ghana could reach anywhere in football. What's your verdict on Thomas Partey? As Ghanaians, we have already decided he is ours. The boy who bled in Ashaiman, the man who scaled Anfield's walls, the chief who carried our dreams. Flawed, complicated, controversial, brilliant, but ours forever.